Hey guys, welcome back to another Shep Talk. Welcome back to another movie review. Today we're going to bring you a review on The Gentleman. Now, before I go into what worked for me, a little bit about this movie. It's written and directed by Guy Ritchie, starring, a whole slew of people, but the people I can remember right off the top of my head: Matthew McConaughey, Charlie Hunnam, Hugh Grant, Colin Farrell, and so many more people that I'm probably forgetting people. If you don't know what The Gentleman is about, it's... how can I explain it in a way that won't give anything away? Matthew McConaughey plays a man that is made prosperous by his weed distribution, and he's decided he's come to an age where he wants to get out of the game. He wants to sell his company, his franchise, whatever you want to call it. And things just start going wrong, so they got to try to figure out. It's like a whodunit or who's doing it to you kind of movie. Okay, let's get to the things that worked for me. First off, I was very hesitant about this movie. It's a January movie. I'm sad to say that Guy Ritchie, in his relatively recent movies, hasn't always hit the mark with me. So I didn't have high expectations going in there. But man, did Guy Ritchie prove me wrong. He wrote and directed this movie, and you can tell his style in this movie. His writing, his delivery and execution of this movie, the way he has his characters talk, and the way their lines and everything that come out. This is a Guy Ritchie production through and through, and he knocks it out of the park, guys. I wasn't really bored for a minute. I will say, I'll preface this, is that for the most part, it's kind of a look backwards type movie, meaning we're getting a certain point of view from some people, and they're going back in time and laying out the foundation of how they got to the position that they're at now. And then at one certain point in the movie, it does start going forward. So if you don't like a lot of flashbacks type thing, a lot of talking, this movie is not going to be for you. There is action. Guy Ritchie is known for his action, and there's Guy Ritchie action in this movie. I'm not going to say there isn't. That's another thing that worked for me, is that, again, his action scenes were just really tight, really well done. And then the cast, like I said, Matthew McConaughey, Charlie Hunnam, Lewis, guy, he's going to play in Mortal Kombat. I'm going to look him up because he deserves talk about as well. Gentleman. So, no, maybe I thought it was that one. Henry Golding. Sorry, I thought it was another guy, but it's still Henry Golding did a great job. Hugh Grant, man, there's just so many people in this movie. Jeremy Strong. Who else was so good? Eddie Marsan plays Big Dave. There are so many people in here and it doesn't seem like it's crowded scene. It doesn't seem like it's a crowded film. They all have their parts to play. They have their roles to do, and they deliver on them time after time. I really enjoyed this movie. I'm going to say I highly recommend it to people. And let's get over to things that just didn't work for me. I'm having a tough time. I'm really having a tough time coming to figure out what didn't work for me. One of the things I noticed maybe in this movie, and maybe it's just me, is that there's one song in here that really prevails, and it's by one of Colin Farrell's groups of guys. But besides that, I don't remember hearing a score. I don't remember hearing music. I'm sure there's something in there. I'm sure there's some background stuff. I just can't remember it. And I don't know if that's really what didn't work for me. Maybe it's just something that at the end of the movie I'm going, was there a soundtrack to this movie? Like, I like the song that The Gentleman played in the movie, but that's the only song I can remember in the movie. It's just really crazy. And I'm like, what the hell? But I don't think there's really too much wrong with this movie. I can't really, when I was driving home from this movie, because this is what I usually do before I get in here, before I write it down or anything, I'm like, okay, what worked for me? What didn't work for me? Go through the movie. What can you find and what can you draw out? And I'm like, man, Guy Ritchie killed it. Casting killed it. Pacing in this movie was good. I didn't have fault with this, pacing the movie. And then I was like, okay, background noise, soundtrack, stuff like that. And I was like, I can't remember that. I can remember the one song that was in the movie because it plays a big role and they kind of play it through. But, I was like, I don't really think. So if I had to say anything, I would say just, the soundtrack. I can't remember the soundtrack. If there was a soundtrack in there, I don't know whether or not you guys see that as good or bad, but I just don't remember the background music, So that's really me just nitpicking. And so what does Shep Talk give The Gentleman? I do believe this is the first movie I've reviewed in 2020, and I really thought heading into this movie, I was going to give it like 2 Sheps out of 5. But I'm trying to talk myself out of how do I not give this movie 5 Sheps out of 5. I've been trying all day. I've been trying like yesterday. I'm like, do I give The Gentleman 5 out of 5 Sheps? And I think the answer is yes. I can't find anything wrong with it. I'm not going to knock it because I can't remember, if there's background music. So guys, The Gentleman so far this year, gotta be the must-see movie of the year. I know 1917 is out there, but people are saying it's going for Oscars and saying that it came out in 2019. So I'm saying The Gentleman from June 2020 is the best movie right now out there. Go see The Gentleman. You won't be disappointed. I promise you that. Thank you guys for watching. Have you seen The Gentleman already? Let me know down in the comments down below. Am I completely out of it? Did I drink the Guy Ritchie Kool-Aid? Let me know. Let's have that discussion. I'll see you at the next review.